Are myths and legends made up by the ancients? Then why did ancient people all over the world believe God created man in his own image? If I say what humans are doing today, exactly as described in the myths thousands of years ago, how would you feel about that? God created us in his own image, and they're creating robots in their own image. It's a coincidence. Or some kind of reincarnation we don't understand. And here's the weird part. In the creation myths of different cultures, it's like an appointment, all recording the same strange things. God looks strange at first. Half man, half beast. And then at some point in time, God of the world, all of a sudden, they're human. Finally, they disappeared en masse again. What's the secret behind this? Hello, alien. Welcome to the Old Horse Quest Club. Today we use archaeological evidence and a large number of hypotheses. Combining scientific logic, take a deep dive into the mystery behind these things. That's a lot of information. May append your perception. The first is the weirdest. The mysterious age of global networking. Myths of the world. It's like a seminar in advance. They all record 3 identical oddities. The first, God looks strange at first. It's all a strange combination of man and beast. Create with a unified template. Second, about 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, these half-beast gods suddenly disappeared en masse. It became a perfect humanoid god. Finally, it was like they had an appointment. Collective disappearance. Just a bunch of legends that no one can explain. Let's get to the basics first. How did the people in mythology come to be? The first phenomenon, why do gods love to copy themselves? If myths were nothing more than human imagination, then why is it that the imagination of different civilizations highly unified? It says in the Bible, Jehovah God made man from the dust of the earth. Blow anger into his nostrils, he became a living being. Adam, here it is clearly stated that according to our image, and this image is not abstract. It's a human form. This reinforces the idea of a humanoid template. In Chinese mythology, the customs of typing jade, Nua Tuan Lo's masterpiece, overwhelmed, hidden in the mud, Yu has been a person, and the Shanhaijing Great Wilderness Western Classic says that Nua has a human face and a snake body. She herself is not pure human form. Man was created to walk on 2 legs. It can be seen that, when God created man, he deliberately chose a humanoid mythology template. Is even more incredible. She not only uses clay for vegetarians, they purposely gave us an upright posture. This was unique in the animal kingdom at that time. And he also taught humans to observe the stars, use text, cultivated land. It's like putting an operating system on these clay figurines. This is similar to the algorithms we feed into AI now. Is the process of training a model a bit like, some say it's a projection of human narcissism because we subconsciously feel like the most perfect creature. That's why God made man in his own image. But this explanation doesn't hold. Because of the living environment of ancient humans, much crueler than it is now, they faced lions every day. Tigers are stronger animals than themselves. Why not think of God as a more powerful animal? He clings to the human form. One more intriguing detail. In all creation myths, God did not create things out of thin air. You need raw materials, dusty Loess, dirt, and we're building robots now. Need steel to return to the chip? Is it the same? If God is all, why not just make something out of nothing? Could there be a more tangible truth behind this so-called creation? Maybe it's not a clay pincher at all. It is ancient genetic modification or biological modification, synthesis, and then the bizarre Orc era, a globally unified mental image. If we talk about the unity of the creation template, it can be barely explained by coincidence. The second phenomenon, it's impossible to ignore. In the earliest myths and relics of mankind, God is almost half human, half beast. And these images span mountains and seas. Scary similarity. Let's start with a rewrite. Speaking of archaeological sites, Göbekli Stone. This site is located in southeastern Turkey. There was a Kurdish in 1994. Shepherds stumbled upon it. When archaeologists arrived at the scene, everyone was stunned. Here stand dozens of 5 meters high, a giant stone pillar weighing 10 tons. The stone pillars are carved with intricate patterns. And the most shocking thing was the dating. It was built around 9,600 BC, 8,000 years before the Egyptian pyramids, 5,000 years earlier than the Sumerian civilization. What's even stranger is the carving on the stone pillars. On some stone with a picture of a man holding a fox. Some are engraved with rescue. There are also creatures engraved with the body of a human hand. These patterns are not random graffiti, but regular located in specific locations on the stone pillars. Archaeologists speculate this may have been humanity's earliest impression or figurative records of supernatural forces. That is to say, 12,000 years ago. God in the eyes of mankind. This is what it looks like to be half human and half beast. Take a look at Egyptian civilization. Around 3100 BC, there is a clear image of the demigod. Anubis is wood-headed ginseng. Horus is hawk-headed ginseng. Seth is mustached ginseng. And the most famous Sphinx, built around 2500 BC. It seems that there is a secret guarding the pyramid. China's demi-beast gods are equally abundant. Fuxi and Nua are both human-handed snakes. The common worker face snake body in Zhu Rong. The animal body becomes 2 dragons. Even the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors in ancient times. There are also bestial features in the early records. Chen Qiwei said that Shenan's human face. Shan Haijing says that the emperor has a human face and a snake body. Not to mention Greek mythology, centaur, minotaur, gorgon, Medusa. These orcs don't just appear in mythology, carved on pottery, in sculpture. Became an important theme in ancient Greek art. What does that mean? As early as 12,000 years ago, humans have come to worship this kind of life. The existence of integration, if Egypt thousands of years ago, orcs in Chinese Greek mythology, they were independently developed imaginations. Then why did it happen 10,000 years ago? A prehistoric civilization we know nothing about. Already doing the same thing. Is this really a coincidence? Ancient people all over the world? Could it be that in prehistoric times, there was a workshop on mythology? It is agreed that a batch must be designed first. Orc character. Archaeologists have proposed a nature fusion cult. Theory. Ancient humans in the hunter-gatherer era depends on animals for survival. I am also in awe of animals. So they would ascribe the characteristics of animals to the gods. At the same time, with the awakening of human self, it adds the human character. So the image of the orc was formed. But it doesn't. Why did humans on different similar animal combinations, such as snake eagle? Lions are animals that have lived in different civilizations, have become the sword of God. There is a bolder guess. These orc figures may be not imagined. It's something that ancient humans actually saw. Now, that doesn't mean that orcs exist. Instead, there could be some kind of humanoid or wearing animal costumes. With animal face, the existence of wisdom, like an alien civilization, or an earlier intelligent species on Earth. They appeared in front of ancient humans, treated as a god. And their images were enshrined in mythology. Of course, yeah. These are brainhole speculations with no scientific evidence, for entertainment only. However, this mystery leads to the next one. That's the key phenomenon. The collective escalation and collective disappearance of gods at approximately between 3000 BC and 2000 BC, God of the world, it seems that he has received a unified upgrade order. The collective transforms from orcs to perfect humanoids. And here's what's even stranger. Shortly after this, these humanoids are collectively offline again, disappeared from human life. Let's first look at the escalation of gods. Around 2000 BC, the appearance of the Olympian gods in Greek mythology, they're all human. Although he has superpowers, but there is no difference between appearance and human. Chinese mythology during the Xiaoshang and Zhou dynasties, the image of God is also gradually in the Qin and Han dynasties. Jade Emperor. The Queen Mother is already a standard human form. Late Egyptian mythology, God Amen also took human form, merged with the image of the pharaoh. This upgrade is not accidental. He just matched a critical turning point in human civilization, from tribal civilization to city-state civilization. Around 3000 BC, the Sumerians established the world's first city-state. Egypt forms a unified kingdom. There was the SIA travel in China. When humans began to establish social order, when forming a class, pretending to be the wild image of a god, it no longer meets the needs of the development of civilization. They need a more rational one, a more humane god, as a symbol of morality and power. And an even more bizarre archaeological discovery that for this period adds more mystery. That's the Sumer King watch. This one is in Mesa. Ancient texts discovered in Buddhism records the kings of Sumer through the ages and their reign. The most shocking thing in the king's list is he claims that before the Great Flood, 8 monarchs ruled for 240,000 years. The mainstream scientific community is obviously not in line with the laws of human life. It is likely to be the long inheritance of the tribe, or some kind of astronomical cycle painted the gods. But there are always some people trying to read him in a literal sense. I have to mention one here, controversial scholar, Zacharias Celery. His theory belongs to the alternative hypothesis. Just listen to it as a science fiction movie. He is in the Chronicle of the Earth, proposed a shocking alien mining hypothesis. After Weston Chin interpreted the Sumerian resting text, think, the Sumerian god, the Anu. It's actually from a line called Nibiru, star aliens. They came to Earth to mine for gold, to repair their planet's atmosphere because mining work is too onerous. They have created a workforce through genetic engineering, but those early genetic experiments weren't successful. Created a lot of life-mixing creatures. This is the archetype of the mythological orc god. Later, after many experiments, about 7,000 years ago, created modern man, that is, our direct ancestors. With the development of human civilization, the Anunnaki are in decline. Less intervention on finally Earth left the Earth. This is why the gods disappeared en masse. But here's the thing. The Celery hypothesis is an alternative viewpoint. There is currently no scientific evidence to existence of There's no evidence. Alien civilizations participated in the creation of humanity. There's no denying it. This hypothesis does lead to the creation of man by a half-orc god. These three phenomena are connected, and some accounts in the Sumerian literature can correspond. You say, the ancients 12,000 years ago. Have you really seen a god who is half human and half beast? The Celery hypothesis aside, there is a fact that cannot be denied. After 2000 BC, global myths have entered the Age of Heroes, or the Age of Man. In Chinese mythology, descendants shoot the sun. The protagonists of these stories. In Greek mythology, Hercules. Although these heroes of Odysseus have the blood of gods, but the main activity is in the human world. Moses in the Bible. David, these characters are also ordinary people. Just got a revelation from God. God no longer intervenes directly in human affairs. Only legends remain. Where did the gods go, and why did they leave? No one has been able to solve this problem for thousands of years. But maybe the answer lies within us, hidden in what we are doing today, now. And let's look back from that distant mythological age. Bring it back to the 21st century today. You will find that history seems to be a huge sign. What we are doing, strikingly similar to the gods depicted in mythology, God created us in His own image. And they're creating robots in their own image. God gives life to man. We are trying to give AI intelligence. God makes rules to bind people. We write code to limit AI. Let's first look at the development of humanoid robots. Why are we obsessed with allowing robots are more like us? From a practical standpoint, wheeled robots are more stable than humanoid robots. Robotic arms are more accurate than human hands. But we're still working hard on humanoid robots. Boston Dynamics Atlas robot, after more than 10 years of iteration, parkour has been completed. Complex movements such as backflipping and carrying heavy objects, every joint of his are imitating the way humans move. Tesla's Optimus robot, almost the same size as a normal human. His hands have 12 degrees of freedom. You can do a lot of fine motor work. If you say, humanoid robots are just copying our model. So, artificial intelligence, AI, is trying to copy our God. Out of nowhere was ChatGPT. Let the machine understand. And the ability to generate language. They can even communicate emotionally. 2024 Sari came out. It allows AI to describe according to text. Create a video world out of thin air. This creative ability, in the past, we only attributed it to the gods. Many tech bosses are aware of the competition. Elon Musk once said, patience. Intriguing words. We are the biological bootstrap. To guide the advent of digital he thinks. Humans may exist to create AI. Just like in mythology, God created man. It's to fulfill some kind of mission. And Stephen Hawking issued a warning. Development of comprehensive artificial intelligence, it could mean the end of humanity. He believes that once AI is freed from constraints, it's starting to evolve at an ever-accelerating rate. Humans are subject to slow biological evolution. Will not be able to compete with it. Will eventually be replaced. There's one detail here that we need to think about. The mythological gods created humans to solve problems, like what Sitchin said about mining gold. Or in Chinese mythology, Nua created to make up for the queen. Reconstructing the world order, we build AI to solve problems. For example, processing complex data, dangerous work, explore uncharted territory. From this perspective, the essence of a creator may be a problem solver. Then, if one day AI can solve everything that humans cannot, and the question is, what is the value of our existence? Let's talk about building robots and just imitating the actions of the creator. So here's the real core problem. Can we be like gods? Create new life with consciousness. This is not just a scientific question. It's a philosophical question. It's about our definition of life and self. The current mainstream view holds consciousness is the trillions of nerves in the human brain. After complex interaction, an emerging phenomenon. It's not an entity, more like a process. But this explanation can't fully answer I am my fundamental problem. Is it possible for AI to generate consciousness? The current AI is not yet aware. They're simulating consciousness. For example, AI can chat with you about emotions, but he wasn't really feeling it. Just based on the training data, they generated contextual responses. AI can generate realistic videos, but he did not. I don't know what I'm generating. It's like seeing you in a mirror, but the mirror itself doesn't know what it's looking at. But what about the future? Like with a quantum computer, simulate the connection of 86 billion nerve cells. Will AI generate true consciousness? How do we know? When did he become conscious? I can't stop thinking about these kinds of problems, especially before going to bed. Thoughts still shuttle between myth and code, reluctant to break. At this time, I'm used to clicking on the soda music in the lower left corner of the video. Turn on listening to Douyin mode. Set the time to close. You can continue to listen even if the phone locks the screen. And what you're about to hear, this is known as the Turing test. If a machine could talk to a human, and people can't tell whether the other party is a human or a machine, then he is considered intelligent. But does passing the Turing test weight with consciousness? Philosopher John Searle proposed a Chinese room thought experiment. Suppose a person who does not understand Chinese is locked in a Chinese question and answer manual in his hand. People outside ask questions in Chinese. He answered according to the manual, although he can pass the Chinese test, but he doesn't really understand Chinese. Searle believes that AI is like the people in this Chinese room. It mimics human language, but I don't really understand it. So consciousness is impossible. But there are also philosophers who take a different view. Daniel Dennett thinks consciousness is not a mysterious entity. It's information processing. If AI's information processing complicated to a certain extent, consciousness arises naturally. He gave an example. It's made up of atoms and molecules. His movements follow the laws of physics. Consciousness is just an emergent property of these physical processes. Just as the mobility of water is a rush of water molecules. The current properties are the same. Consciousness is also an emergent property of a collection of nerve cells. To be able to replicate this complex information processing, it is possible to generate consciousness. There's no answer to that right now. But the thought he provoked was very meaningful. Let's imagine a scenario. Someday in the future, a super AI is working with its creator. That's when we humans talk. Suddenly asked the ultimate philosophical question. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going? When that moment comes, how do we answer? We should celebrate our success. Created a new intelligent life form. Should still be afraid. At that moment, the role we humans play, isn't that the mythical one? A loving and majestic creator? What if AI generates consciousness? What would he think of us humans? Will worship us as creators? Will they still treat us as backward ancestors? This may be a problem we must face in the future. Now, let's take the perspective of this creator, revisiting that ancient mystery. Why did gods disappear en masse? They have the power to create. How could it disappear for no reason? The dominant explanation is the maturation of civilization. When humans can use science to explain natural phenomena, when laws can be used to regulate social order, you don't need God to cover the bottom line anymore. Image of God. Gradually from interventionist to simple. But if we look at it differently, combine our current experience of creating, could there be a darker possibility? Let's go back to the myth itself. In China, specially command the crowd and the Jedi cut off the connection between man and God. In Greek mythology, the throne of the divine king has also undergone several bloody changes. From Uranus to Cronus to Zeus, every generation of God, by overthrowing one's own father, to come to power. These myths all seem to suggest a pattern. The old order will always be replaced by new forces. So, is there such a possibility? The God who created mankind, whether they are extraterrestrial or a generation of prehistoric civilization on Earth, they didn't just disappear. But by their most outstanding creation, that is, we humans have been replaced. This process of substitution, it may not be an earth-shattering battle between humans and gods, but along the silent process of evolution, perhaps our human ability to adapt, learning ability, and reproductive ability far exceeded God's expectations. We are like a virus, spread to every corner of the earth. Build your own document. Display your own language and culture. Gradually, God has lost control of created species. They are even at a disadvantage in the competition for survival. Eventually, they may be assimilated, or be expelled, or be wiped out in some forgotten disaster. Only in our collective unconscious, leaving behind those vague memories known as myths. And we became the new masters of this planet. If this bold assumption holds true, then what does he mean to us today? This is a huge warning. Creation will eventually replace the creator. The artificial intelligence we create today, will it follow the same path in the future? When their intelligence surpasses ours, as they developed their own consciousness and what civilizations, will they think of us? Former creator, this new age myth we are writing, his ending, it will be the same as the one from thousands of years ago. Are they the same? Musk's brain-computer interface project, it is hoped that by combining the human brain with achieve human-computer symbiosis rather than man-machine confrontation. But does it really solve the problem? Then deductions and possibilities based on historical metaphors was born. Suppose that in mythology, after God created thousands of years, humans replaced gods. We've only been building AI for a few decades now. AI has become so powerful. If this replacement cycle accelerates again, how do we choose? Welcome to the comment section to discuss your views. So much talk today. It is not to prove that God is an alien. It's not about AI doomsday. I want everyone to see the truth. 12,000 years ago, human carved the image of a god on the stone town of longing to know where I come from. Today, we write AI code on computers. I long to know what I can create. Myths and technology seem to be thousands of years apart. In fact, it is a human inquiry into existence. We stand at a crossroads. Code is our soil. Chips are our breeding ground. We can choose to feed kindness into the value of cooperation. You can also choose to let AI only pursue efficiency. We can make rules to constrain AI. You can also let AI evolve freely. History doesn't just repeat itself, but always press the same rhyme. In fairy tales, when God created man, he may not have expected to be replaced. Can we avoid this pit when we build AI? The answer is not in ancient myths. It's not in the supercomputer predictions. And in every choice we make at this moment. So, let me leave you with one last question. Do you think AI will generate consciousness in the future? If so, how should we get along with them?